Hello, I am Lilian Nyambura in Nairobi, welcoming our viewers in Kenya and around the world. This is the News Mile. This program takes a global and exclusive look at evocative issues affecting public attitudes in politics, health, sports, and education. First, a look at major stories from around the world.
Let us begin with African politics. Mali's President Boubacar Keïta has announced on state TV that he would run for re-election in a poll scheduled for the end of July. The 73-year-old president had been widely expected to run for a second term but had not confirmed his intention. Rising violence across Mali has cast doubt over the feasibility of elections in some parts such as the north, where dozens of ethnic Tuareg and Fulani civilians have been killed in intercommunal violence. Moving on to sports, drug charges against safety TJ Ward, who was arrested in October 2017 for marijuana possession, have been dropped, and this is according to Hillsborough County Court records. Ward, who was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time, had been charged with possession of cannabis and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was then arrested in January on a warrant for failure to appear. Police had found two large clear glass jars containing 99.9 grams of marijuana in Ward's apartment while responding to an intrusion alarm. Possession of marijuana over 20 grams is considered a felony in Florida. To our feature story, President Donald Trump reinstated the Mexico City policy, often referred to as the global gag rule on abortion, which prevents U.S. money from funding international health organizations that offer abortions or even information about abortions. The ban was introduced by President Reagan in 1984, and it has been rescinded and reinstated many times since then.
Please do give us your opinions and comments on our Twitter handle Lilian_the News Mile. On his first day in office, US President Donald Trump issued an expanded global gag rule, also known as the Mexico City policy. This rule strips foreign non-governmental organizations of all US health funding if they use funds from any source to offer information about abortions, provide abortions, or advocate liberalizing abortion laws. Under this type of policy, health centers will have to either stop providing abortions or no longer receive the federal funding that allows them to care for a wide range of patients. Undertaking research, Human Rights Watch, involving representatives of 24 organizations in Kenya and 21 organizations in Uganda, look at the impacts of this policy. Before I hand it over to Linda Gakenya, let's have a look at your feedback.
We have one comment from Samantha on Twitter saying majority of African countries rely on foreign aid, especially when it comes to healthcare services. Trump's gag rule did not consider the millions that will suffer by passing this policy and the torment it will put young African ladies through. #ProChoice. Thank you, Samantha, for your comment. Other comments are streaming in. Keep the conversation going and we shall have a look at more comments. Before then, let me hand it over to Linda Gakenya and let's see what she has prepared in regards to the gag rule and its effects on Kenyan citizens.
Human Rights Watch found the policy has triggered reductions in key sexual and reproductive healthcare services from well-established organizations that cannot easily be replaced. An example, Family Health Options Kenya, FHOK, runs 16 healthcare facilities in the country. FHOK representatives say the organization will not comply with the restrictions and therefore will lose US funds, which make up roughly 60% of its budget. Just to get clarity on the people's opinions, this is what a few had to say.
I will say that I am against the idea of stopping the funding to the African contraceptive and abortion clinics, because it's already been a practice that has taken long to be accepted in African culture. And now that it's been accepted, uh, it was take another effort had to be put in to make sure that it's safe. So now stopping that safe process and that whole planned processing will bring more deaths, will bring more issues, because it had already brought about a culture where at least if anything could happen, if you get a child, unwanted child, so to speak, maybe through rape or any other way, at least you had a way out. And even, I don't know if I'll contradict myself, but I'll say that I am pro life. But I do support that life begins at conception. But for those who are not pro-life, those who are pro-choice, the choice of closing those clinics and stopping those contraceptives will have very detrimental results on them.
I think it wasn't a big deal until the new policy was passed, because people had an option. Not everyone is from the same background, and not everyone has the money to access good medical care, especially here in Africa. In my opinion, the government has failed by accepting this policy.
And now we have Linda live on the field. Thank you, Linda, for that feature. What can you tell us about FHOK? More information about FHOK and any other organization that has been affected?
So the FHOK not only has suffered a loss in funding, but as a result, it has also had to cancel some of its healthcare events, such as cervical cancer screening, HIV testing, all these awareness kind of events. Also, the reproductive healthcare network in Kenya has suffered the same consequence. It has also had to have its healthcare awareness events cancelled, because after losing 2/3 of its annual budget.
So, Linda, what are your thoughts on this situation about the gag rule? Do you support it, or what do you think about it?
Honestly, I'm not one to judge, because the choice to have an abortion or not, to keep a child or to not keep it, should be up to the individual who has to bear that responsibility. I can have my own opinions, but I'm not the one who's going to carry the child. It's the individual in question. So, as a Christian, I don't support it, but at the same time, I understand the need for it in some cases.
Thank you very much, Linda.
You're very, very welcome.
We have another tweet from Brami Rose, also known as Noni Gisheru, saying, I've never been for abortion, but then I remember rape victims who end up pregnant. I guess this is where I only support abortion. We are clearly in a mess after Trump withdrew US funds. Hashtag pro-life or pro-choice. Hashtag Trump's gag rule.
With us is Thomas Kathuli, a lawyer and CEO of Kathuli and Associates. What does the Kenyan law state about abortion?
Kenyan law does not support abortion, and it has been very much vocal on the issue of abortion. So basically, Kenyan law and Kenyan, should I say, statutes do not support abortion.
Joining us as well is Reverend Cyprian Nyambura. Welcome, Reverend. Correct me if I'm wrong, But being a church leader, is it safe to assume that you do not support abortion?
I am pro-life, and I believe that that is what the Bible would teach, because it is God who makes life. It's God who knits us in our mother's womb, and so He is the author of the life, and He's the one who then has license to take it away when it is time for Him to take it away.
And what does the Christian faith say about abortion?
The Christian faith does not have any.
Thank you, Reverend. Now back to you, Mr. Kadhuli.
We do understand that we have two terms, pro-life and pro-choice. What is the difference between the two? Could you?
For a pro-life, it basically means this maybe for an individual, let's say we're referring to an individual. For a pro-life, this is a person who does not support abortion by any means. And for a pro-choice, he has that option whether to support it or not.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Reverend, back to you. And the question is,
In your opinion, is the gag rule going to be helpful for Kenyan citizens?
I think it has two sides to it, because when Trump decides that he's not going to support certain activity, he's speaking for his party, which is a conservative party. They are coming from a pro-life kind of angle. So in that regard, they are keeping to what they believe is ethically right for them to do.
Thank you very much for your time. We really do appreciate it. Mr. Kadhuli,
we have learned that abortion is illegal. So tell us, what could be the consequences if a certified medical practitioner is found undertaking an abortion service?
It has to be known that these are certified practitioner and they are guided by rules and regulations. So if you're caught going against the rules and regulations, you stand a chance to have your certificate confiscated, and at the same time, your institution, if you're running a private institution, it will be closed or shut down. Since it's an illegal act, which you know, and you're supposed not to undertake it at any cost.
thank you. Do you have any final words for the viewers out there who are watching?
Abortion, when you conduct an abortion, you stand the risk of losing a life, and nobody wants to lose a life. I believe even you yourself, whether you have an unwanted pregnancy, definitely you know you don't want it, you wish you could get rid of it, but at the same time you have so many questions lingering in your mind. So I believe it's better for you, you don't know whom you're going to do away with. So that's why for me I don't support abortion, and that's why I'm pro-life.
Now joining us today is Dr. Karanja. We have questions for you. According to medicine practice, what is the definition of abortion?
Abortion is the expulsion of a conceptus from the uterus before there is any possibility of its existence outside the uterus.
Okay.
Abortion is either spontaneous, when it happens by itself and naturally, or it can be induced by somebody who deliberately wants to expel the baby from the uterus.
What do you think of the global gag rule and its effects on Kenya?
You see, the gag rule, the Donald Trump rule, the United States of America president's rule on the use of American taxpayers' money for paying for other people's irresponsible behavior in general is the correct thing. What about contraceptives? Contraceptives are not medical, and therefore nobody can ever talk about contraceptives from a medical point of view because they are not medical. Indeed, in this country, and up to 1985, no contraceptive was allowed nearer than 1 kilometer from a health facility because they were considered in the same group as narcotics, as bang, as alcohol, as cigarettes. You didn't bring them near a medical facility. I was still a doctor then myself. You couldn't bring contraceptives in a hospital because they are not medical at all. They are social things.
Thank you. Do you have any final words for the viewers out there who are watching?
Let me remind you that I am a gynecologist. Number two, I'm a parent. Being a gynecologist and obstetrician, it means that mothers who are pregnant are my patients, they themselves and the baby they carry. And when I take care of them, it's clear to me and to them that I have two patients. And I think that the gifts of a healer that every doctor should have and try to sharpen must never be blunted with getting into the habit of killing one of your patients. And I can tell you, and it has happened throughout the world, that if you find doctors who kill little babies, the same doctors, like the legendary Dr. Kavokian of America, ends up always killing everybody who is defenseless. If you become very disabled, they kill you. If you become very old and you need to be taken care of society, they kill you. That is euthanasia. And therefore you see that abortion and euthanasia are big brother and small brother, or big sister, little sister. Therefore my take is this, that everybody, and especially doctors, each one of us, must be committed. It is part of our oath, the Hippocratic oath, never to do bad, never to cause an abortion. In fact, it specifically says never to give something that causes an abortion. And why? Because abortion is killing one of our patients. And we've been trained. And I hope every doctor would reflect on that and remember he's trained as a healer, not somebody who goes out of his way to kill especially the most defenseless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karanja, for your time.
I would like to now finalize with our last tweet from callme_eccentric, who says, "Personally, I believe Trump's gag rule is ill-advised. Even though I am pro-life, I know that there are people who are not. And without a safe avenue to carry out their abortions and family planning, then the results will be detrimental."
In my opinion, I do agree with Dr. Karanja, where he says that life is there after conception. So I do believe that you need to just take care of the child, do not abort. I am for pro-life. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, do share the video, and keep posting your comments on our Twitter handle that has been displayed on your screen.